Hey everybody, Melody here with Making Melody Crafts. So welcome to this video, and if you're new here, welcome. I am so happy to see you, happy to have you here. Today we're going to be talking about crafting with allergies. I wanted to share with you all of these things that have helped me in my journey with eczema and allergies. So without further ado, let's go to the craft table. First, let's start with ink and ink pads. I prefer to choose non-toxic inks and ink pads. So I do that whenever I can. These are all non-toxic except for this one, and I could be wrong about that. Again, this is my personal journey. I am not a doctor or medical professional in any way. So that is my disclaimer. This is what I do, and it's what works for me in my craft room. That's one thing that I do, is just using non-toxic ink and ink pads. These are also non-toxic. So we're gonna slide those over and moving on. So now into different markers. So the Stabilo markers, these ones are non-toxic. It's easier with a marker for me when I am working because, you know, you can stay away from that ink. You're kind of just using it, right? Yeah, so that is something that is not hard for me to use because, hey, you know, it's contained, right? If I do get some on me, what works for me, I just use a little bit of hand sanitizer because like dissolves like, and the alcohol in this will dissolve the ink from any of your alcohol markers. When I first started crafting, I constantly used Marvy markers. You can color a stamp and then put it down. So that's another way that you're not getting contact. You color the stamp and then stamp it down. So that's pretty cool, and those are non-toxic. Now these Craft Smart don't say on them, you can see that I purchased these, but I have not used them yet. So I'm not positive, and this one is a paint marker. You know, when you shake it and then use it like that. But I also am careful of fumes when I'm working. So I do have windows that I could open up, but again, with allergies, I prefer to have my windows closed and just rely on, you know, my air conditioning for temperature control in my home. Okay, so we have covered ink and ink pads and markers, and I hope you're enjoying this video and finding it informative and maybe a little fun too, even though we're talking about allergies, right? And we're also talking about crafts, that's always fun. So maybe go ahead and hit that like button there if you are enjoying this video. Now we're gonna move on now to glues. So this is my favorite glue stick. It bonds paper wonderfully. The Scotch Create glue stick, it is permanent, it is photo safe, and let me get that up there for you. This is a gigantic one. These are made by 3M, and yeah, I really like these. They work very well, and they don't bother my hands. So when I'm using a glue stick, I frequently will get that on my hands. It is, I don't know, it's almost unavoidable, really, for me anyways. So I like that. Now, one of the easiest things for glues and adhesive is a dry adhesive. So this is my ATG. And yeah, that is wonderful because your hands are not in glue of any kind. I have no reactions to, you know, that tape that's there. Another glue that I do like to use, this is the Zig two-way glue, and I don't have any reactions to it. This bonds paper really well. I'll get it closer to you so you can see it. It says acid-free and xylene-free, but I'm not having any reactions to that. Again, my personal journey. Now let's go on to how we clean up, how we do different things. I prefer using baby wipes, and I transfer these into another container that I just keep refilling. I buy these by the case, and this is the Huggies Natural Care. It's sensitive and fragrance free, but it doesn't leave a lot of moisture behind, so my hands also dry quickly. Because for me, I stay out of water as much as I can when I'm crafting because the water really makes my eczema worse. That is my experience. So these are the wipes that I prefer. All right, moving on. So the way I store my colored pencils, I'm gonna grab it for you. So these are my Prismacolors. I have a video showing how I organize them and why and what I do with these. Anyways, I'll link that video here. I don't know, you wanna check it out? Go check it out. But so you notice that these are all point side down. So I store my colored pencils point side down because, and if you have eczema, you already know why. All of those points, if you reach in to get one, oh my gosh, that can really hurt. So I prefer to have them this way. And now let's go to stamping blocks. Some stamp blocks are rounded. Can you see that? It's hard to see probably, right? So this is scalloped and the corners are rounded. That does make it a little easier to hold on to, especially these large blocks. But you'll get some that are very, very sharp on the corners. This one in particular, this one is Hero Arts. I love their products, but this is very, very sharp. But yeah, so those are some of the options. Now this one is a Paper Studio by Stampabilities. I've had this many, many years. And this one does have a little bit of sharp corners, but not like this. These are extremely sharp. Okay, then different tools and how I store them, and actually what I even use. So, you know, different rulers even can be quite sharp on the edges. This one is rounded, and which is wonderful. But sometimes if I have a sharp tool like this and I store this standing up, otherwise I'd probably never find it. But what I'll do is I'll take some sort of a cloth or, you know, just something I have that's fabric typically, and just kind of put it over that. Now, if I come up against it or I lean over to do something, it's not a sharp edge here. So that's what I like for safety. And then tools like this, if you are thinking about getting this, I have a neat little 1-minute video about using this. It's pretty cool. It's the Crocodile too. And this has smooth edges. Now it is serious. This is the business end of this tool. And it is serious when it, you'll see right here, when it goes through something, it means business, but you just obviously keep your hands out of the way. Look at the feet on the bottom of this, how they are rounded. So I look for this kind of thing when I'm purchasing a tool. Even this, which is a stopper for whatever paper you're putting in here. Sorry, I think I bumped the camera again. I bumped my tripod. But even this is not that sharp. So I really appreciate that this company, you know, really took the time. This is We Are. But, you know, We Are Memory Keepers. Yeah, they really took the time, and this is so well made, and it is heavy tool, but I just love how it's rounded, and there's, you know, cushioning here for my hand as well when I'm using it. Even on the bottom, so I don't have my thumb or my fingers when I'm pushing down against something sharp on the bottom. I also try to find palettes that, you know, have rounded edges, that there's not, you know, something sharp, like a sharp edge in anything that I use. So any sprays, I'm very careful with sprays or powders. And even if something is non-toxic, I do still exercise some caution when using that product, because I don't know how I'm going to react to it. So I have to be cautious with things. And in order to do that, I use a smaller amount and I work with it for a shorter time. That way I'm gonna, if I do have any sort of reactions to something, I'm gonna know ahead of time. So I hope I'm not throwing too much information at you, but I just hope that some of these things are helping you. So now to go on, I've got a whole another list here of a whole bunch more things. So I want to go ahead and share some of these things with you because I don't want you to miss out on anything. So we talked about the glues and the baby wipes. If there are any sharp edges, sharp corners on papers, sometimes I round them off. So, you know, even just the edges of regular paper, not photo paper, but regular paper, yes, I will round that off a little, either with a corner rounder or just with a pair of scissors, and just kind of carefully round that off. And we're gonna get personal here. I keep my hair in a ponytail because it's a little long and I don't want it to get into anything and then have to take, you know, another shower, which sometimes I do have to do that. And now here's another thing. If I am crafting, I don't have any open containers of things I'm drinking. So I have no open containers of beverages while I'm crafting because I have to think of these things. Even if they're non-toxic, I could have some sort of a reaction. So, you know, this is my favorite water thermos. And so I'll have this near me because it totally closes. Even my drinking surface is covered. And I will only use that if I don't have some powders in the air and things like that. Another thing that I like to do is just kind of go slowly. And also, I try not to ever touch my face while I am crafting, until I've washed my hands, of course. That's something to keep in mind. If you want to do that, go right ahead. If you don't, that's okay too. Everybody does what you know, they think is best for them, for their situation. I'm just sharing you what I like to do for my situation. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you later.